Hi guys, welcome back to Watches TV. We're at Watches and Wonders here at Kross Studio with Marco Tedeschi. Marco, thank you so much for having us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So, can you tell us a little bit about how you started your brand back in 2020?
So in 2020, I wanted to start on my own, create my project. I had a vision of families of movement I wanted to create, and I decided first to start with the manufacturer. Because to me that was a no-brainer. To achieve a vision, we needed to master every step from the design to the production and the assembly in-house. So I started. That was a strange time because after signing the paper for the company, 2 days later we were locked down. And at the same time, that was a great opportunity to develop the manufacturer itself, to develop other contracts, to work for other people, which is always something very enriching. And we started with the very first product the same year in November, which was the Batmobile desk clock. So for the first time we had to create a clock, and a few months later in 2021 on March 25th we released the first watch, which was the central tourbillon part of the Death Star collector set. So the idea was to create Kross Studio as a creative laboratory, as an extension of a future brand to come, and that is alive today, which is Marco Tedeschi. And basically it's my watchmaking with my construction philosophy transferred into the world of some collaboration. We've done a lot of different collaboration. We did a watch with Batman, with Game of Thrones, with Harry Potter, to name a few. And here at Watches and Wonders 2026, we are becoming full circle with the launch of the brand Marco Tedeschi.
Oh, fantastic. So after gaining notoriety within the world of watchmaking through collaborations, etc., you moved to an in-name brand with a permanent collection, I'm guessing.
Absolutely. So the very first model of this permanent collection is the MT 1.1, which is my 7 days pour reserve tourbillon. And actually the idea is not to limit ourselves to 1 or 2 calibers, but I've drawn a vision on 13 caliber. There is one in the center, which is the central tourbillon we are known for, and that I developed back in 2006 when I was still an engineer student. And the MT1 is the very first step of this collection of 12 other calibers. So as you said, the permanent collection is very important for us because we have been living on one-offs every time. But to build a brand, I believe that we need also to have a strong foundation. Today we have the manufacturer, and thanks to this first permanent collection, it allows our partners and collectors to project themselves in a longer run.
So your manufacturer remains called Kross Studio, and I'm guessing your collaborations also under Kross Studio?
So basically the manufacturer is named Kross Manufacture, and this is where we manufacture all our products, either the Kross Studio and the Marco Tedeschi watches. But we don't limit ourselves to our own product, because we are also developing for many other brands. For some we have some development from A to Z, like a private label project. We design some technical parts, or we manufacture components. And that's really what I call an ecosystem, where you have the manufacturer as the industrial foundation, you have the brand Marco Tedeschi as the signature brand, and Kross Studio is the collaborative extension of the brand, where we can do the craziest models and something different that what we are doing with the brand, but with the same base and the same foundation.
And on a technical side, if I'm not mistaken, from your previous designs, you had a 5-day power reserve, and now you've moved to a 7-day power reserve. How did that happen?
So the 5 days is given by the construction of the movement. On the central tourbillon, we have a movement that is built entirely on the central axis of the movement. So not only the tourbillon is in the center, but also the barrel, which is the source of energy, as well as the peripheral display with hands that come from the outer side of the movement to the inside to display the time. And because this mechanism is consuming more energy than a traditional axis with the hour and minute hands, we limit the power reserve to 5 days to achieve chronometric performance from the beginning till the end. It's actually, the real power reserve is actually a little bit more than that, but you get chronometric performance for the 5 days. In the case of the MT 1.1, which is the 7-day tourbillon, the construction allows a longer power reserve, and this is why it's 7 instead of 5.
Talking about the 7-day power reserve, I think that, we have it on your wrist.
Here it is.
Yeah, can you show us a little bit? Because I can tell that there's no crown, so how do you wind this movement and how do you set the time?
So the product philosophy is form follows the movement. So I always start with the movement, and the idea is to have a case and a bracelet that is perfectly hosting the movement, which is the centerpiece. So I've decided to go for a lugless design from the very beginning because to me is what's more comfortable on the wrist. You don't have lugs, you don't have sharp edges, you don't have a crown. So when you wear it, you really feel the comfort of the watch. We have a folding clasp with an interchangeable strap system. So by pushing a little button on the backside, you release very easily the strap. And the crown is at the back for many reasons actually. First, for a design perspective and an ergonomic perspective, but also for a technical reason, that is that we engage the barrel directly from the back. And thanks to that, we do wind the 7 days power reserve in only 15 turns, which is very few turns for such a longer power reserve. So you do turn the ring at the back, and this is how you rewind your watch. In my philosophy, I also don't like very much the automatic watches. They are for sure convenient, but to me, I like to feel the power of the movement, the feeling of the mechanics at the tip of my fingers every day. So this is why I choose usually to have a mechanical winding. Last but not least, to set the time, because as you mentioned, we don't have a crown. We created a mechanism that works as a selector. It's basically the same way you do on and off on a chronograph, so it has a column wheel. And when you press the button at 3 o'clock, that is here, you will see on the back you have a small dot that is now gray. And when I press it, it turns red. So I can press several times to change. So each time it turns in a different color. Now that I'm in the red position, I can set my time with the crown at the back. So that's very convenient. You see also that compared to a crown, it's much faster to set the time because we have a smaller, a bigger gear ratio, and that's also part of the ergonomy of the product. When I push back, I'm back in the winding mode.
So nice, and also I can tell that you're quite detail driven because there's a design at the back under the winding.
So for a first product with a new brand that bears my name, I really wanted to have a distinctive type of decoration. And I've always been a huge fan of Japanese architecture and Japanese garden. And I always thought that it would be a great idea to have the same type of racked gravel pattern on the back of the watch. So basically each stone and each pin that you see on the back is the center of a group of circle, like if a drop of water was falling on a flat, like a ripple. Yes, exactly.
Oh, it's so nice, and I think it fits very well with the winding being so meditative. It's a good good way to place it.
But better to wind a Marco Tedeschi watch than to go to a 1-hour yoga course.
Oh well, you better get your hands on one. How many of these do you have?
So also this is new for us. We have one model with different material. So we start with the titanium. It's a grade 5 titanium ELI, which is the most compatible with the human body. So it's what we use in medical appliance. Then we have a version with black DLC that is all black with the movement in black as well. After the DLC, we have the tantalum, which is a material I really like because it's very heavy. It's actually the opposite of the titanium, and sometimes I feel like having something heavy on the wrist that you can feel, and sometimes it's better to go for sports activities or daily wear on a titanium. Last but not least, we have one watch in pink gold, and it's also available with the diamond on some special executions.
So, knowing that these are not limited editions but a permanent collection, I'm guessing that it's limited by production still, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We try to limit the production to get always the best quality. We are growing the manufacturer and the company in a very organic way. So each time we have a new watchmaker that joins the team, he goes or she goes through a very long training process. So we cannot always supply very quickly, but the quality has to remain our first priority, and this is why, of course, it's often limited in production.
Okay, fantastic. And so, would it be fair to say that we can expect more complications coming in the next shows, maybe, or a year under Marco Tedeschi?
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll definitely see much more. You have the 12 caliber, but you also have the central tourbillon that is not yet released under Marco Tedeschi. This is the next one on the list, and at the end of the year, I'll be present in IAM Watch in Singapore, where I will release the MTO, which is the next project we are going to release. In the year to come, there will be more mechanism, more complication, but it's a bit early to say more about it today.
Well, Marco, thank you so much for having us, and it's so beautiful to finally see your name on a dial and on a brand. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Lara, and as Mad always say, Viva Watchmaking.
Viva watchmaking.